Please like, share and subscribe for more videos. Thank you.
What's up, guys? Grandmaster Dan Boshkov here again with a new series on how to use your pieces in the best possible tactical way. Today, we're going to talk about one piece which is definitely undervalued, and this is the knight. Undervalued, not as strong as the others, not as shiny, not as that powerful, short-range piece for sure, but very nimble one. And that's the thing that we are going to use in our next examples, and this is how we are trying to understand what the knight is capable of and how to position it to get the best out of it. We're starting with a very nice study. Actually, this is my favorite study regarding knights themselves. And this is one from Mr. Belyansky, but not the player Belyansky himself, but study composer Belyansky. It was designed in 2008. It's white to move. As you can see, he's in danger. He's about to get checkmated any moment now. But with forcing moves, he's the first one to take the opponent's pieces. And how is he doing that? Actually, before we have a look at the solution, just make sure that before every example, whenever I tell you who is to move, pause your videos and try to solve it on your own so that you can get the maximum benefit from what we are doing today. Okay, so white to move. What should he do? First of all, he's sacrificing the queen. This is the most forcing move in the situation. And with his next move, with 97, he's also sacrificing one of his remaining knights. This looks really silly. But at the same time, black is forced to take it, as if he doesn't. If he goes king to f8, the two knights together are going to deliver checkmate to the opponent's king. This is pretty obvious. So when he takes it, however, now all the black pieces are standing on a knight fork and on a knight move to this knight on d1, and it starts its wonderful journey into the opponent's camp. So it starts with a check, it starts with a fork, then it follows with another fork, one rook is going down, then another rook is going down with another fork, and finally the queen is going down. And if you thought that this is everything from the knight, no, this is actually just the beginning, because the knight can come back. The knight likes to stay in the center, and after king d5, with the help of the little pawn, the king, the opponent's king, is checkmated. So the two most important things from this study that you need to remember, first of all, the knight needs room to attack, and he likes having the opponent's pieces on a knight fork in a specific way. So this is how the knight moves. And the other thing, which we have seen at the end, you want to centralize the knights no matter what. In most of the cases, the knight belongs to the center so that you can get the maximum out of it. But this is the thing that you guys shouldn't forget. Often, the knights are so different in comparison to the other pieces that we miss obvious or not so obvious tactical shots just because they are moving in a different way. And this particular example that we're looking at the moment, Karyakin, nobody else but this great player, missed a tactical shot. As you can see, white to move in this situation has ample compensation for the pawn. But is he really winning? Oh, he is. It is actually pretty simple. He could have taken on c7, and then he could have taken on f6, and then comes this fork that is winning the queen on the spot. And this is something that could have been done in this situation, even with preliminary move like d4, to deprive the opponent's king of the e5 square, and then you're still taking the queen, but not even giving him that little counterplay that we have seen in the previous example. Why did Karyakin miss this? Well, this was a blitz game, first of all, and second of all, what matters and what is important here is that knight forks are really very difficult, guys. This one is from black's perspective, and once again a reminder to you that the knights, whenever they're standing in the middle of the board, have this reach to the opponent's pieces, and you shouldn't forget that they're moving in a different way. So sometimes even very random moves, even weird looking moves, can actually lead to gain of material, the way that it is here in this situation. If it is black to move now, and it was black to move, besides the move knight f2, which she played, there was an even better idea. The knight should have been enabled to capture on f2, this is true. But first, let's, instead of taking on f2, to decoy the opponent's king under a knight fork, the way that we have done it in the very first example by Belyansky. After this check, they can take it immediately, which is immediate fork, and white is regaining the queen and has an extra knight. Or white can try to avoid this for a moment, but we can insist with the move queen h1. And that's a typical trick worth remembering as well. Okay, you know that whenever you're attacking, you're usually looking forward and only forward. But the knight as an exceptional piece, sometimes wants to move backwards. And when it moves backwards, it is still capable of creating threats in front, as it has the ability of jumping. And this is what we are going to do in this situation with white to move, obviously, as he is the only one to have a knight. So what white can do here is he can step back with the knight on g4. That's a forcing move, and you definitely need to calculate forcing moves. Then when the king goes back on e7, we can step one more time back with the knight. And the point here is that this guy is hanging. That's pretty obvious, but the knight also wants to jump on f5. And both the threats cannot be stopped. Let's say black tries to counterattack something and to threaten something in return, but it is white's turn, so he gives this fork anyway. After king d7, he can pin the opponent's pieces. And since bishop is hanging on d6, the rook on e8 is hanging, and sometimes the rook on e1 is hanging like it is in this line. If he captures on f5, there is this check, and this rook can be taken after that. And the bishop on d6 can also be taken. So since all these things are hanging, if he tries to somehow defend with bishop d5, then knight g7 is winning at least a pawn for white. And that's not the only good option for white, but that's pretty enough for this situation. And I forgot to mention one other fact. After knight g4 check, if black had gone with the king on f7, then bishop g6 would have seen the rook winning the one on a1 thanks to the discovered attack. But it all started with the knight moving backwards to the e3 square, which turned out to be the optimal one, as from here it had an access not only to the bishop on d5, but to the a5 square itself as well. Knight is worth only 3 pawns, but nevertheless it shouldn't be underestimated as an attacking piece. Sometimes, actually far more often than one can imagine, it is capable of delivering checkmate even on its own, especially if the opponent's king is packed the way that it is packed here, and it doesn't have way out. Also, our rook is helping, so this is giving you a very, very good understanding and feeling about how to mate this king. So black to move, pause your videos, find it, and let's do it. Knight a3 is the move. Knight a3 is the threat, is creating the threat of knight c2 check. And if he takes it, they are going to drop the rook on a1, which is not great. Whereas if they try rook c1 to defend this way, then bishop b2 is trapping the rook. And once again, these two are getting very nice cooperation. They're taking all the squares away of the opponent's rook. And above all, the rook is not capable of moving on d1 for the same old mate on c2. Black to move in this example. Think about it. What can your knight do? And just one advice for you guys. If you cannot use the knight directly, try to send it to help the other pieces as quick as you can, as you have already seen how powerful it can be. And this is yet one more proof for that. Here in this situation, black can jump with the knight on d4, which is a great move. The knight is getting closer and is ready to help the queen, and it's also ready to help even that pawn, as we are going to see in the main line. If he goes bishop f1 to defend himself like that, then knight c2 is coming. The same old fork that we have seen previously is working perfectly fine, because even though white is winning the rook, at the end of the day, he is getting checkmated after bishop h3. But the main line is more fun. After knight d4, whenever he takes on d1, there comes rook takes d1. That's obvious, bishop e1. And now there is this check. And the knight managed to bring the opponent's king out of the way of the pawn. The pawn is going to get promoted at the end of the day, and black is going to win with his extra piece. And that's about the knight. I hope that you enjoyed the videos. I'm pretty sure that you have other ideas about this beautiful piece. If you liked the video, or if you didn't like it, leave a comment, and see you in the next one. Thanks for watching this.